World is divided into seven continents, and that are North America, South America, Asia, Antarctica, Africa, Europe, and Australia. Australia is also known as Oceania. Now, in Asia, India and its surrounding countries are known as Indian subcontinent, as all this area is connected by land, and this is supposed that India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, all these are part of same landmass. So this part is known as Indian subcontinent. Now, Indian subcontinent is further divided into three major parts, that is the Himalaya mountains, the Indo-Gangetic plains, the southern peninsula. As you can see, all this region is Himalaya. This is Indo-Gangetic plain, and this area is known as southern peninsula. And the countries which are in this subcontinent are India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. And India is the largest country amongst all these. Now, let's start with the Himalaya mountains. The northwest part of the Himalayas are known as Pamir, and Himalayas are extended towards the northeast India. Its length is nearly 2,560 km, and its breadth is nearly 240 to 320 km. The next is very important. Mount Everest is the highest peak with height 8,869 meters. Himalayas protected India from cold winds that passed through Siberia. There were many passes like Hindupur, Suleiman, Kirthar ranges, and in northwest India like Khyber, Bolan, Kurram, and Gomal, which provided routes for the external powers to enter in India. Indo-Aryan, Indo-Greeks, Parthihans, Sakas, Kushans, Hunos, Turk, all these entered India through these passes. The next one is important. Alexander Macedon came to India through which pass? It was the Sword Valley. Karakoram range is situated in Kashmir and it is the second highest peak. Mount Godwin Austen is situated in the Karakoram range. Karakoram and Central Asia was connected via Gilgit route. This is important. There are some important mountains in the eastern region that are Patkoi, Nagai, and Lusai. The next is the Indo-Gangetic Plain. There are three important rivers, Ganga, Indus, and Brahmaputra. All these rivers rises beyond the Himalayas. The major tributaries of Indus are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, and Beas. Sindh is situated at the lower valley of Indus. Between the Indus and the Gangetic Plains, there are the Thar Desert and the Aravalli Hills. The highest point of the Aravalli Hills is Mount Abu. Its height is 5,650 feet. Ganga rises in the Himalayas, then flows towards the south, and then it moves towards the east direction. River Yamuna is also parallel to Ganga and then join it Doab is important. The land between two rivers is known as the Doab. Tributaries of Ganga are Gomati, Saryu, Ghagra, and Gandak. In the east, Ganga plain and Brahmaputra plain merges. This is important. The Harappa culture flourished on which river valley? It is Indus River Valley. And the next Vedic culture flourished on the bank of which river? Then it will be Ganga. And the major cities of Vedic culture were Banaras, Allahabad, Agra, Delhi, and Patliputra. Patliputra was situated on the bank of Son River, and Patliputra remained the capital of Maurya, Sung, and Guptas at various time periods. So, the next is Southern Peninsula. North India and South India are divided by two mountain ranges. The first is the Vindhya mountain, and the second is Satpura. And there are two rivers which divide the North and the South India. Those rivers are Narmada and Tapti. And the southern part of Vindhya mountain is known as the Deccan Plateau, that is made of volcanic rocks. Coromandel coast is situated on the eastern Ghats. On the western Ghats, there are Konkan and Kannara. The southernmost part of the Western Ghats is known as the Malabar coast. There are some important passes in the Western Ghats that are Junar, Kanaheri, and Karli. Palaghat is important pass in the Western Ghat. It was the important trade route for Indo-Roman trade. This is important. Anaimudi is the highest peak in the south, and Doda Betta is the second highest peak in the Western Ghats. Eastern Ghats are not very high, that means Western Ghats are high. On the Coromandel coast, there were many important cities. Some of them are Arikamedu, Mamallapuram, and Kaviripattanam. River Mahanadi flows at the eastern part of the peninsula. The next, which are the rivers that flows from east to west direction, that are Narmada and Tapti, and which are the rivers which flows from west to east directions, that are Godavari, Krishna, Tungabhadra, and Kaveri. The region between Krishna and Tungabhadra is known as Raichur Doab, and it was famous under the Satavahanas ruler. And which delta became the seat of Chola power? So it was the Kaveri Delta. Many foreign powers came to India and made India their home. Some were like Aryans, Indo-Aryans, Greeks, Scythians, Huns, Turks. And in Vedic text, we see some pre-Aryan and Dravidian terms. It means they were mingled with those people. And in Sangam literature, we saw some Pali and Sanskritic terms. That means whole of the India was united at that time too. The name Bharatvarsha came from ancient rhyme, which was named as Bharat. Hindu word is derived from the Sanskrit word Sindhu, and India is a Greek word. This is important. In the 3rd century BC, Prakrit language was the lingua franca of the country. That means in the 3rd century BC, Prakrit was the language of the common people. This is important. Ashoka's inscriptions were written in Prakrit language. Majority of the inscription written by Ashoka were in the Prakrit language. Of the prehistoric times, there are no written records available, but we find some objects like stone tools, pottery, artifacts, and metal implements that give us information about the history of those times. The time period which is before the written historical time is known as the prehistoric period, that is divided into four parts: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, and the Metals Age. Two types of methods are used to determine the age of the object. First is radiocarbonating. In this method, we measure the loss of carbon in organic materials over a period of time. The another method is dendrochronology. In this method, we see the rings present in a tree wood that gives us the information about the age of that tree. Paleolithic age. This is the time period before 10,000 BC. It was located near the water sources, and some of the famous sites are the Son Valley in Punjab, Podwar Plateau in northwest India, the Sivalik Hills in North India, Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. Few old stone age paintings are found at this site. Adamgarh in Narmada Valley, Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh, and Atirampakkam near Chennai. These are the important sites of the old stone age. At this time, the people were hunter gatherers. Stone implements were made of quartzite. Mesolithic age is between 10,000 BC to 6,000 BC. It is the transitional phase between the Paleolithic age and the Neolithic age. Its remains are found at Lamganj, Gujarat, in Adamgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar. At this time, microliths are found. Microliths are tiny stone objects whose length are less than 5 centimeters. In the old stone age, big animals were hunted, but in the middle stone age, people started hunting small animals. Use of bow and arrow also started in this age. People started to domesticate animals. They started doing horticulture and primitive cultivation. We see some type of animal bones like dog, deer, boar, and ostrich. And if someone died, then some shells or microliths were also buried with them. Neolithic. Neolithic is the time period between 6,000 BC to 4,000 BC. Its important site are Kashmir Valley, Chirand in Bihar. This is important. Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh, and some in Deccan. In Deccan, the important sites are Baski, Brahmagiri, Halol, Kodaikal in Karnataka, Payampal in Tamil Nadu, and Uttanur in Andhra Pradesh. All these sites are very important. What are the features of the Neolithic age? Agriculture started, domestication of animals at a large level, stone tools were polished, and pottery was manufactured. Mud brick was used in the house bed making. Fields were used to make pottery, and the pottery was used not only for cooking but also for storing food grains. And some large urns were also used to bury the dead. What are the crops? Wheat, barley, rice, millet. And what are the animals which were domesticated? Sheep, goat, and cattle. And Cotton and wool was also known to those people. The last was the Metal Age. Copper was the first metal, and bronze was its alloy. Both these metals were used on a large level. Metal ore was smelted and then crafted into metal artifacts. Harappa culture was an important part of this metal age. We can see the evidence of copper and bronze artifacts by the end of second millennium BC. Also, at Payampally in Tamil Nadu, some copper bronze objects were also found. The word iron is mentioned in Vedas. Important megalithic sites are Halol Maski, Karnataka में है, Nagarjun Konda in Andhra Pradesh and Adichanallur in Tamil Nadu. All these sites are important. And what type of pottery was there? That was black and red pottery. Harappa civilization. This civilization was known as Harappa civilization on the name of the first city that was discovered, and that was Harappa in Punjab. The next city was Mohenjo-daro in Sindh. It was much larger size site. It was first called the Indus Valley civilization, but there were many other sites that were also discovered. So with time, it came to be known as the Harappa civilization. Its important sites are very important. Court Dizzy in Sindh, Kalibangan in Rajasthan, Ropar in Punjab, and Avli in Haryana, Lothal, Sulkotota, Dholavira. All these are in Gujarat. Lothal is a dockyard site. Mohenjo-daro is the largest amongst all. There are four important phases of evolution: pre-Harappan, earlier Harappan, mature Harappan, and late Harappan. The pre-Harappan stage was seen in the Balochistan, and Mehergarh is a site nearly 150 miles to the northwest of Mohenjo-daro. This is the pre-Harappan site, and Amri and Kot Dizzy are the early Harappan site. In Kalibagan, we see the town planning, that is the mature Harappan site. In the late Harappan, the decline of the Indus culture and the Harappa culture. In Lothal, we see the stages of evolution. It can be seen as the mature Harappan site. Lothal was an important site because it was a trading site. There are some estimates by archaeologists about the time period of the Harappan culture. Sir John Marshall in 1931 estimated the age between the 3250 BC to 2750 BC. In 1956, Fair Service estimated the date between 2000 to 1500 BC, and finally in 1964, Deep Agarwal gave the conclusion that it can be the between 2300 BC to 1750 BC. There is no exact date, but we can have a random guess, and that can be between 2300 BC to 1750 BC. What are the important features of the Harappa town planning? The first is the roads were on the grid system. That means they were cutting each other on the 90 degree. There was a high part in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Kalibagan. This is known as Citadel. It was in the western part of the city, and in the eastern part there was a lower town where the common people resided. Burnt bricks were used in the housemaking, and there were underground drainage system also prevalent in those times. There is a public place found in Mohenjo-daro that is known as the Great Park. These are the measures. This is the picture. The floor of this great bath is made of burnt bricks. It is assumed that it could have been a ritual bathing place. And in Mohenjo-daro, we find a granary which is much larger than this great bath. And in Harappa, we find as many as six such kind of granaries. So there may be a question that if the granaries are found in Mohenjo-daro only, then it will be no, because in Harappa too we found the granaries. What kind of economic life was in the Harappan culture? People practiced agriculture, industry, and crafts and trade. Wheat and barley were the main crops, but sesame, mustard, and cotton were also used. Sheep, goats, and buffalo were domesticated. The use of force is not yet formally stabilized. It means that Harappan people were not very familiar with the horses. Goldsmiths, brickmaker, all these types of artisans were present there. Bronze and copper were used. Gold and silver watch also used. Red and black pottery was found. We see the trade between Mesopotamia, Afghanistan, and Iran. Gold, copper, and tin were imported from these countries. And what the Harappan people exported? They exported wheat, barley, peas, oilseeds, and some finished products like cotton goods, pottery, beads, terracotta, and ivory products. We see the trade links between the Indus and the Sumerian people. The Sumerian civilization was prevalent in the Iraq. The trade was of the barter type, means people exchanged one kind of thing with the other. Bullock carts were used, and boats and ships were also used. What kind of social life was there in the Harappan culture? Cotton was well known, though people used to wear clothes also. Beads were worn by men and women both. Gold, silver, copper, bronze ornaments were used. Cosmetics was very common. Pottery, stone, shell, ivory, metals have been found in Mohenjo-daro. And fishing was a regular occupation. Matlab, fishing was also known to the Harappan culture. And some kinds of war weapons are also found. A dancing girl is the figure of a dancing girl is found from Mohenjo-daro, made of bronze. This is very important. This is the feature. Its right hand is on the hip, left arm covered with bangles hangs loosely. And in Harappa, we found two stone statues. One is the back view of a man, and the other is of a dancer. Pottery was of better quality in the Harappan times. They use sign language, and it is known as pictography. The normal signs were 40 to 60, but their various variant were also present, and it was written from right to left. And the seals were made on the Baustro-Fedon method. It means On alternative lines in the reverse direction, it was written. It is believed by some archaeologists that Harappan language was Dravidian, but some believe that the language of Harappa was written in a script that matches with the Brahmi script. And what was the religion of the Harappan people? They worshipped Pashupati, the male deity, and the female deity was also there, known as Mother Goddess. The Pashupati seal is also found, and in this, Pasupati is sitting in a yogic posture, having three faces, two horns, and surrounded by four animals. And those animals were elephant, tiger, rhino, and buffalo. And trees and animals were also worshipped. They believed in ghosts and evil forces and used amulets to protect themselves from them. What are the method that was used by Harappan people? A complete burial and the post cremation burial. They either buried the dead completely or first cremated it and then buried it. At Luther, many burial pits are lined with burnt bricks. That means wooden coffins were also used, and there is no evidence of practice of such. What was the reason of the decline of urban culture? There are no written evidence of this, but it is believed that it may be the natural calamity like flood, drying of river, decreasing fertility, or earthquakes. But some scholars believe that there was invasion of Aryans, due to which there was the decline of urban culture. Forts were discovered. This is also mentioned in the Rig Veda. There are many human skeletons that are found all together in Mohenjo-daro, and that indicates that there may be some war at this place. Also, Aryans had many superior weapons as well as horses, due to which they could have won this place, and the Harappa culture declined with time due to this. What was the time period when Harappa culture declined? That this was nearly 1500 BC. Around this period, we see the Sanskrit language enter in the India, and by the 6th century BC, Indo-Aryans occupied the whole of North India, and which came to be known as the Aryavrata. And the time period between 1500 BC to 600 BC may be divided into two parts: early Vedic period and the later Vedic period, about which we will read in the next videos. Now there are some additional points. It took 3 lakh years for man to become food producer from food gatherer. These are the one-liners, and that may be asked in the question directly. Dog, goats, and sheep were the first animals to be domesticated. Copper bronze X is found at Brahmagiri in Mysore and Navdatali and Narmada. And in Egypt, it was the Pharaoh civilization. In Iraq, it was the Sumerian civilization that flourished along the lines of the Harappa civilizations, and the time period was almost the same. Burnt bricks were used in the Harappan culture. Tiger, elephant, rhinoceros were known to Harappans. What were the foods that they used? Wheat, barley, lentils, chickpea, Sesame, banana, pomegranate, meat, fish, but rice was not known to those people. In Gujarat, we see the evidence of millets. And Mohenjo-daro, the seal was made of clay or stone, and bull and tree and scenes are seen on these seals. In Lothal, painted jar is found, and also it was the dockyard sites. It is a port site also. In Mohenjo-daro, we see the Pashupati seal and a bearded man statue. In Afghanistan, we see in Afghanistan from Afghanistan we imported blue stone that is also known as lapis lazuli. What were the sacred tree and animal? It was the people and the bull. Where was the terracotta plaque found? It was in the Cholistan, modern Afghanistan, and Banawali in Haryana. Ploughed field is found in Kalibangan, Rajasthan. Canal traces are found in Sortugai in Afghanistan, but not in Punjab. We don't see the canal traces in Punjab, but we see that in the Afghanistan. Water reservoir was found in Dholavira, Gujarat. These are important. This is important. Who was the first Direction General of Archaeological Survey of India? Alexander Cunningham. He was known as the father of Indian archaeology. He discovered the Harappan seal in 1875. Where was the copper earlier used? That was in Sumer in Iraq, 4500 BC. In India, copper was found in the Khetri region in Rajasthan. What were the weight denomination that were used in the Harappan culture? It was binary and decimal. Binary was 1 to 4, 8, 1632, and up to 1000 to 1 lakh 28,000. What is stratigraphy? The study of strata or layers is known as the stratigraphy. There is a book, The Story of Indian Archaeology, who wrote this, S.M. Roy. Theram Sahni is associated with the Harappan site, and the Rakhaldas Banerjee is associated with the Mohenjo-daro site. Where are the five altars found? These are found in the Kalibangan and Lodha. In 1924, the Director General of SI was John Marshall. In 1944, it was R.M. Wheeler. There are some date years which are important for historical point of view. In 1921, Harappa was evaluated by MS Works. In 1925, Mohenjo-daro was evaluated by John Marshall. In 1946, Harappa was evaluated by R.M. Wheeler. 1955, total by Asar Rao. 16, Kalibagan, Bibilal and B.K. Thapar. 1974, Bahawalpur by M.R. Mughal. 1990, Dholavira by R.S. Suvist. This is the last slide. Not so important, but some dates were mentioned and this important from the exam point of view, so I added this. In the next lecture, we will see about the Vedic culture.